Christmas, July 10th, 2026. The stadium lights burn white against a darkening sky. 88 minutes on the clock. A ball spills loose in the penalty area, and the substitute goalkeeper, 24 years old, watches it roll past him like slow motion inside a nightmare. Somewhere behind the goal line, a man in gloves sinks to his knees. Thibaut Courtois, 34 years old, watching from the bench, unable to stop what's coming because his body had already betrayed him 17 minutes earlier. This is not just a football match ending. This is an era ending. Kevin De Bruyne, 35. Romelu Lukaku, 33. Courtois, 34. Three men who once made the world believe a small European nation could conquer football itself, playing in this exact moment the final minutes of their final World Cup. For 12 years, Belgium carried a golden promise, the best midfield in the world, the best defense in the world, at one point, officially, the best team in the world. And yet, when the final whistle blows tonight, there will be no trophy. There never was. How does it happen? How does a generation this talented, this feared, this dominant walk away from football with an empty cabinet? To understand tonight, we have to go back. Back before the fame, back before the #1 ranking, back to when nobody believed in Belgium at all. Between 2002 and 2012, Belgian football meant almost nothing. No major tournaments, no relevance. A footballing nation forgotten by the rest of the world. And then, quietly, something changed. Not one great player emerged, an entire generation did. Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Vincent Kompany, Romelu Lukaku, names that would soon dominate the biggest clubs on the planet. It felt less like development, it felt like fate. By November 2015, Belgium reached something no one saw coming. #1 in the FIFA World Rankings. Not a fluke, not a moment. They held that position again from September 2018 through March 2022. Years. Think about that. A nation of just over 11 million people ranked above Brazil, above Germany, above France. The world took notice. Pundits called them a golden generation. Fans dared to imagine a World Cup trophy in Brussels. Because when you assemble this much talent in one place, you don't just hope to compete, you expect to win everything. If Belgium had one of the strongest squads on the planet, why did they never lift a single trophy? 2014, Brazil. Belgium arrived with excitement building around them for the first time in a decade. They reached the quarterfinals, and they're eliminated. Hope bruised, but not broken. 2016, the European Championship. Another quarterfinal. Another exit that stings a little deeper than the last. The pattern is starting to form, but nobody wants to say it out loud yet. Then comes 2018, Russia. This is supposed to be the moment. Belgium eliminate Brazil along the way, and reach the semifinals. They finish third, their best World Cup finish in history. Courtois wins the Golden Glove. Hazard wins the silver ball. It feels for a moment like the beginning of something rather than the peak of it. It wasn't. 4 years later, in Qatar, the Golden Generation collapses in the group stage. No knockout rounds, no fairy tale, just an early flight home and the nation asking difficult questions. Kevin De Bruyne, in the middle of the tournament, says the words that will follow this team for years. No chance, we're too old. It sounds like a confession. It sounds like an ending. Everyone assumes the story is finished. They were wrong. There was one chapter left. 2026, North America. The Golden Generation, older now, grayer around the edges, gets one final invitation. Expectations are lower than they've ever been. The trauma of 2022 still lingers. Under new manager Rudi Garcia, this isn't the same Belgium. The architects remain. De Bruyne still orchestrating, Courtois still commanding his goal, Lukaku still leading the line as a lethal weapon off the bench. But now they're surrounded by new blood. Jeremy Doku, Lois Openda, Charles de Ketelaere,
Arthur Thate. Young legs built to run for the old legends who can no longer run as far as they once did. Captained by Yuri Tielemans, this Belgium grinds where it once glided. In the round of 16 against Senegal, they find a way to survive. A penalty converted in the 125th minute, deep into extra time, by their captain himself. It's not beautiful, it's not dominant, but it's enough. And it makes people wonder, could this really be it? Could this aging, fading, doubted generation finally finish what they started 12 years ago? There was one problem. Standing between Belgium and history wasn't just an opponent, it was the future of football itself. Spain arrive in this tournament as reigning European champions. But this isn't the Spain that once suffocated opponents with endless possession. This is something newer, faster, fearless. Manager Luis de la Fuente has known his core players since they were 15 years old. Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, Unai Simon, coached through every youth level until this exact moment. He kept the foundation of Spanish football, patient, positional, intelligent, but he added something Spain never truly had before: verticality, urgency, youth without fear. At the center of it all is a teenager who plays like he's been doing this for decades, Lamine Yamal. Even carrying a hamstring injury into the tournament, he remains Spain's most dangerous creative force, repeatedly beating defenders one-on-one as if it cost him nothing. Beside him, a 19-year-old center-back, Bauku Sarbi, has already displaced established veterans to anchor Spain's defense. Rodri, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, sets the tempo from midfield like a metronome that never loses time. This Spain enters the quarterfinals on a 6-game clean sheet streak. They had just eliminated Portugal in the round of 16, ending Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup story in the 91st minute. Two nations, two philosophies. Belgium, a golden generation searching for one final act of glory. Spain, a new kingdom that refuses to wait its turn. One empire fading, one empire rising. And on July 10th, in Los Angeles, they would finally collide. Before kickoff, disaster. Yuri Tielemans, Belgium's captain, their heartbeat in midfield, pulls a muscle during the warm-up. Pulled from the starting lineup entirely, replaced by Hans van Aken with almost no time to adjust. Belgium's plan is broken before a single ball is kicked. Still, they hold on. 30 minutes in, Spain finally break through. Yamal to Borro to Olmo. Courtois makes the save, but Fabian Ruiz reacts fastest, burying the rebound. 1-0. Belgium do not collapse. 11 minutes later, De Bruyne signs Castagne with a pass that still carries all the vision that made him one of the greatest midfielders of his generation. Castagne crosses. De Ketelaere rises above Gusarbi and heads it home. 1-1. Spain's clean sheet streak, 6 matches long, is gone. For a moment, in the stands, in living rooms across Belgium, hope rises again. Maybe this really is their night. Then, in the 71st minute, everything changes. Courtois goes down. A save against Miguel Oyarzabal leaves him in visible pain. He tries to continue. His leg won't let him. He's substituted for 24-year-old Sen Lemons, thrust into the single biggest moment of his young career with almost no preparation. The heartbeat of Belgium's defense, gone. Spain sense it. They wait. They probe. They do not panic. And in the 88th minute, Bauku Sarbi lets a long-range effort fly. Lemons gets a hand to it, but he cannot hold it. The ball spills loose. Miguel Merino, on the pitch for barely 3 minutes, pounces. 2-1. Silence falls over the away end of the stadium. Not the silence of shock, the silence of recognition. They know before the final whistle even sounds that this is the end. Football fans will remember the scoreline, but the real story lives underneath it. Belgium didn't just lose a football match, they lost to attrition, to the slow, cruel mathematics of age. Losing Tielemans before kickoff broke their structure before the game began. Losing Courtois in the 71st minute broke what was left of their spine. The gap between Courtois and Lemons wasn't a gap in ability, It was a gap in nerves, in a moment too big to prepare for. Spain, on the other hand, won because of exactly what Belgium no longer had: depth. De La Fuente brought Pedri, Nico Williams, and Miguel Merino off his bench, and none of it cost his team anything. They conceded, and they didn't flinch. They trusted the plan. They trusted the future they had built specifically for nights like this one. But beneath the tactics lies something heavier. Belgium's golden generation was extraordinary, but it was never renewed in time. The young talent arrived, but not fast enough, not deep enough, to share the burden the veterans had carried alone for over a decade. Spain didn't just build a better team, they built a machine that could survive without their founders. Belgium built a team that could only survive with theirs. And when those founders finally ran out of time, there was nothing left to fall back on. So, were they failures? A nation of 11 million people, reaching #1 in the world, a World Cup semifinal, a collection of players who once terrified every opponent they faced, and still no trophy. Is that failure? Or is it something more complicated? A generation crushed under the weight of its own brilliance, held to a standard that only nations 5 times their size are expected to meet. After the final whistle, Thibaut Courtois offered his own answer. He said that in the biggest tournaments, his team had almost always done well, that they were proud of everything they had achieved, that the criticism about a golden generation with nothing to show for it stings, but that Belgium was never meant to be measured against giants like Spain, France, or England. They were, in his words, a small country of not even 12 million people that showed the world something extraordinary anyway. Maybe that's the real inheritance of this team. Not a trophy in a cabinet, but the memory of a nation that made the entire footballing world afraid of them for over a decade. The scoreboard will always say Spain 2, Belgium 1. History may remember something quieter. A goalkeeper on the bench, unable to stand, watching his career end in silence. A captain who never got to play the final act of his own story. A generation that reached the mountaintop of world football and never quite planted its flag at the summit. As the whistle echoes through Los Angeles, one empire closes its final chapter. Another begins its first. The sun sets slowly over Brussels. It rises brighter than ever over Madrid. 12 years from now, when people talk about the greatest teams to never win it all, Belgium's name will be there. Not because they failed, but because for over a decade, they made the impossible feel inevitable. And now, the only question left is the one no scoreline can ever answer. What if?